Hey, how you doing there again, folks? Me again, of course, Brandon Wenzel. Come back at you. Another offering off my sampler platter. Yes, indeed, folks. I'm Platter series of videos I've been doing for a little while now. Go over there, try out food and drink items. I eat stuff, I drink stuff, and folks, I'm gonna talk about stuff. I'm gonna let you know all that you need to know about hopefully delicious stuff. That time I'm doing this, folks, I'm not gonna lie, I am excited for this one. So we'll get into that. But folks, it's a super simple format. I'm going to go over there. I'm going to try out food and or drink items for you. Excuse me. Whilst I'm doing so, a little bit gassy. Whilst I'm doing so, I'm going to yammer on about it for a bit. Whilst I'm doing all that, I'm inside the truck. And whilst I'm inside the truck, I'm wearing a super cool shirt. Folks, when I wear super cool shirts, I always like to highlight the super cool shirt. What super cool shirt am I wearing today? Well, folks, it's my Blue Beetle shirt. Lucky's Blue Beetle. Specifically the Jaime Reyes version of Blue Beetle. There's been two others, because there was the Ted Kord one, and then there was like the Golden Age one. But yes, this is the Jaime Reyes one, which might at this point be the most well-known, I would think, at least outside of comic book circles. Because of course, at the time I'm doing this, several months back, we had the not so great Blue Beetle movie. Sad though it was, because I really wanted to root for that movie. I think a lot of the casting was really good. George Lopez was not. He's terrible. He's a monster. I'm sorry, but George Lopez should not have a career in comedy. He's not funny. And that's just one man's take. But I'm the one doing the review. And I'm not reviewing, a movie. But that just, God, did that chap my ass so much, man. Because it's like, I wanted that movie to be so good. And it's not terrible or anything. Some of the fight scenes are pretty solid. There's some good stuff. And again, some of the cast is really good. It could have been a great movie. But anyway. I actually am not wearing that shirt, or wearing this shirt in support of that movie, clearly. I'm just a big fan of the comic books from back in the day. And one of the co-creators, a guy named Keith Giffen, he's pretty much my favorite comic book creator, who sadly passed away this year. I'm not going to blame George Lopez for that, but I'm close. The only thing that keeps me from doing it is knowing that even George Lopez's awfulness isn't nearly enough to kill someone as cool as Keith Giffen. He went out on his own terms. But anyway, I do really like the character. If you are interested at all, by the way, in the Blue Beetle, whether you've seen the movie or whether you haven't seen the movie, maybe you just have interest in the character, go check out the Keith Giffen run of the character, okay? That is far and away the best version of the character. Later on stuff in the comic books, yeah, it's very mixed. But anyway, what am I trying for you today, folks? What are we doing? Why am I excited for it? Well, folks, because, quite frankly, boom, it's Honey Rose Cola. What are you even with this? This is... I don't know, man. I don't know. So I got this from an import store. It's a little place called, I think it was like Snacks and Anime, or Anime and Snacks, or something like that. I gotta look it up again. But yeah, it was just this cool little place that specialized in import snacks and anime stuff. And I picked this one up. I originally thought, come on now. I clearly thought this was a Coca-Cola, but it turns out it's not. It's actually from a company called Huang. And I guess it's out of China, as far as, I can look it up. And they have a number of, novelty sodas, this being one of them. I really want this to be good. Let's find out together. This one's been in my fridge for a little bit, so I wanted to get around to it. Not as carbonated as I would have expected. It's still there, but... whoo! Man, that's floral. Alright. Okay. So, my excitement has subsided somewhat. It's not bad. I'll say this. It's honestly, I didn't know what to expect exactly going into it. But, I've had floral-based drinks before. They are extremely hit or miss, man. Because, like, you get this weird, almost perfumey kind of taste with some of them, and, like, yeah, it can be a little bit not very good. So I didn't know what this was going to be. Like, I didn't know how heavy they were going to go with the rose, where the honey aspect was going to come in, you know. I will say this. It tastes exactly like what it says. It is definitely a floral cola. It definitely tastes like a cola as its base, and then there's floral accents to it. But it's still identifiably a cola, for sure. And I actually like the way that they implemented the rose flavor to it, because it's throughout, but it's mostly kind of at the tail end. So instead of like normally for like, you know, a classic cola where you would have like that bite at the end, you know, that like nice, you know, sort of hit of carbonation, almost a little bit, you know, kind of sweet and bitterish. Instead, that's where the floral aspect comes in. It basically replaces that. And it actually kind of works nicely. Like, it's, you know, I mean, it's actually a pretty good drink. But it's one of those things where I like the drink, but I was hoping for something a little bit more outstanding, a little bit more unusual. And instead what I got was a very drinkable floral cola, which isn't a bad thing. Like, it's one of those things, and I've made mention of this in some of my reviews before. You know, when it comes to like reviewing stuff, I always want to enjoy it. You know, that's, you know, I'm consuming it for fuck's sake. But by that same token, if it's between enjoying something and having it be maybe a little bit pedestrian versus maybe not enjoying it as much, but it being more interesting, I usually tend to prefer the more interesting aspect of things. This isn't as interesting as I was thinking it was going to be, but it is actually a really nice beverage. Like, this is one of those things where, you know, you don't really see a lot of floral beverages here in the United States. More have come about in years, but it's definitely not a commonplace thing. And it seems to be more a thing in, you know, certain other countries. And, you know, so when it's something like this, it's kind of hard to gauge how, you know, my palate, you know, even though I try a lot of stuff, is going to react to it. But in this case, it's like, well, no, actually, it's really tasty, and, like, it works surprisingly well. Like, this is probably the best outright floral-based, you know, soda or beverage that I've ever had, honestly, because the way they blended the floral aspects into it, it just works really well. And while that makes it a little bit less interesting, in its own way, it makes it more interesting, because it is kind of unique in that it actually worked really well. And the thing is that whereas normally something like this I would just kind of write off as being kind of a fun novelty, this is something where flat out, I think it would never be obviously like a main stage, you know, flavor, but if Coca-Cola wanted to go over there and license this and bring it over to America, maybe go over there, you know, tweak the formula a little bit, I actually could see this being a little bit of a thing. Because the way that they put it together, the way they crafted it, like, they did a really good job. Like, this is a tasty cola with just a very unique kind of, you know, kind of flowing taste through it. But I really like it. I genuinely think that this is really good. It's nice, it's refreshing. It does all the things that a cola should do, but then just at the end, it has kind of an uplifting floral taste. I like it. 2 questions have to be asked, though. Would I get it again? Would I recommend it? Yes. I wasn't expecting that to be the case. A lot of times with these import drinks, especially like the wacky flavored ones, you know, I'm always rooting for them, but you know, they're extremely hit or miss. And a lot of times, although I appreciate the opportunity to try them, they're not things I would return to. in this case, I would 100%, like, if like I said, if Coca-Cola ever decided to bring it over here, or or if I head back to that import store anytime soon, if it's still available there, I would 100% get this again, because I like, it's so unique. It's familiar but unique. And even if it's not quite as interesting as I thought it was going to be, the fact that it's as drinkable as it is just really cool, and like, again, like, I think just makes for a really nice beverage. If I'm recommending it to people, I mean, first of all, it's how do you get it? Maybe you have an import store near you. And the thing is, even if you get it from a location, like, that's in the United States or wherever you might be, if it is an imported item, you're going to be paying more for it. I forget what I paid for this, but like, it was more than a normal soda for sure. But if you go over there and you go to actually import it yourself, like off of a website or something, you're definitely going to be paying more. I'd say if you happen to run into it, maybe like a novelty shop or something, absolutely pick it up. I think it is worth giving a shot, if for no other reason than it's just cool. I like it. But by that same token, should you go over there and import it, maybe if you're getting multiple items, maybe if you can work out some sort of a shipping deal or something, something like that. I wouldn't go too far out of my way for it, but it is definitely something that's worth trying, in my opinion. I think it has a lot of character to it. But anyway, 5 things before I get out of here. Have yourself a great rest of your day, spectacular rest of the week, monumental rest of the month, stupendous rest of your folks. You go over there and have yourselves a truly honey rose-tastic rest of your life, because apparently it's pretty dang good. Final 2 things. Number 1, try to bring some positivity in the world. It's not always possible. It is, however, always appreciated. But what you do if you can't do all the time, I know I can't do all the time. Here's what you gotta do, folks. Try not to be an asshole. Folks, not always the easiest thing in the world to not be an asshole. Trust me, I know it, I live it, I'm out there with you in it. Just for my own person, rough night at work, it's very stressful, very frustrating by the end of the day. But, I'm several hours removed now, feeling better, more uplifted, especially with my delicious honey rose soda. It's important when we run into situations in our life that are stressful and frustrating, take a step back, try to mitigate the level of assholishness in our lives, hopefully do better for ourselves and for those around us. Very final thing, folks, do the thing. Whatever the thing is for you, that's what I want you to go out and do. Folks, maybe you're going to go over there, maybe you have an import store near you. And I know for a fact, because I was looking up some of the information on this, apparently Huang, apparently they have multiple, like, interesting flavors. Maybe you've tried one, or maybe there's, like, ones over there that, you're like, hey, that's the thing that the guy with the Blue Beetle shirt was talking about. Give them a shot. Hit me up in the comments. Let me know which ones I should go over there and try. Or, hell, you don't even have to do that. Just go ahead and try them yourself. Start up a YouTube channel or some shit if you really want to. I mean, it's not all glitz and glamour the way I make it look, I'm all professional-like. But, go out and experience these things, man. It's so cool that we get to. Anyway, bye.